So today we're talking about Social Security, and we're going to tell a little story about some clients that came to me and came to our firm a couple of years ago. And Sue came to us by referral, and Sue was then 65 years old or turning 65, and she was born in March of 1956, and Theo was born in October 1960. And I met Sue first, or some people that work with me handling Medicare supplements met her, and we went over everything, and then I ended up going down to physically meet these folks. They're close enough, they're in another state, but I met them along the way when we were talking about their money. And so she just came to us for Medicare, and she had started her Social Security check on her own, and it was a grand total of $336.50 a month. So Sue hadn't worked that much. So the way she met Theo was Theo applied for a job. I guess you could do this back in the 70s. And he was only 18 years old. She was 22, and she was like the manager of the place, and he lied about his age. So, and they're telling me all this, which is obviously 40 years later. Yeah, and it's kind of sweet now when it probably wouldn't have been very funny back then, but it was kind of sweet when you hear it now. But so we've got the primary earner. Theo is 4 years younger than Sue because she didn't work very long, and then she just was raising a family and helping him out in his businesses over the years. So anyhow, in March of 2021, we got Sue getting on Medicare, buying a Medicare supplement from us, and collecting this small Social Security check. And then after a few months, she gets to know our salesperson, and they're talking about me, and they're saying, well, my boss is a financial planner, and he owns the business, and he does a lot of financial planning, Social Security planning, investment planning, IRA planning, all the stuff we talk about. And so then they bring out this statement, and these are just country folks. They've got $940,000 in a 401k and never taken a dime out of it. And, the first question that I've got is like, how did you get this much money in there given what you make now? And, he's 61. So I just asked him. And, the rest of the story is at some point in his career, he was a very good landscaper, and some guy with a big estate hired him to take care of his whole estate, and I guess hire the people that did some of the other work, but he was the landscaping guy. And then the guy had a place in the north that was another estate, and so he would, by the seasons, take care of both of them. He moved them up there, and he put them in a 401k, this guy did, or in his business or something. And so they accumulated it, but that's been years ago, and they've just done a nice job of managing it, but they were scared out of their mind once they sat down with us because of really how turbulent the markets have been for the last couple of years. And she was really the one managing it, taking a lot of risk and doing stuff on her own, but she really needed some help. And she said, is there a way? I've even thought about just turning it all to cash. And I said, well, don't do that. Let's not go to the other extreme. Let's sit down, and I can't tell you what to do with that or how you're going to distribute it until I get to know you much better. And we're going to need to go through all the steps. And so the first place we go to is, let's talk about this Social Security check. And, it looks to me like Sue was going to want to get spouse benefits off of Theo, but she couldn't do it because he was only 61. So she just thought, I'll take the smaller check and then we'll deal with Social Security later when he retires. And so then I meet him. And when I'm meeting him and I'm talking about a few things, he's really saying, I'd retire next week if I thought I could do it. And he said, we've even thought of turning all the $940,000 in the 401k into cash, leaving it in there and just pulling out enough to live and pay taxes. So that was their simple plan, but they're afraid to do it. So I said, again, not a good idea. Let's think through this a little bit more. And so we got out his Social Security statement, which we had to go get and run, and we figured out that he is eligible, and we're doing all this in the summer of 2021, that at 62, which is going to be October of 2022, that he's eligible for $2,072 a month of Social Security, filing at 62, which those of you that watch me regularly, you know I don't like that. I'd rather somebody that has this much money, I'd rather they live off their IRA and, you know, get larger money and all that kind of stuff and delay Social Security. But in order for her to get the spousal benefit larger, he has to file, and she's 4 years older, so she's going to be at full retirement by that point. So we run all the numbers, and we came up with him getting $2,072 a month, her getting $1,387 a month as the spousal benefit, because she'll already be 66 and a half or thereabouts. That's $3,400 a month. And if that was all the income that they had, the only income that they had, because he's retired, that's 40 grand a year, they wouldn't pay any taxes. And, you know, and then we're sitting there looking at that and they're thinking, you know, I show them how 40 grand a year, essentially after taxes, is like 60 grand before taxes. It would literally be a raise. So they didn't really hire me to do that, but it sure took a lot of pressure off the 940 grand. I mean, to withdraw from that. So then the problem becomes, how much are we going to have to withdraw in addition to the 40 grand a year for them to just live a really nice retirement? And then since he wasn't 62 yet, and he wanted to retire now, then we had to figure out how can we withdraw, you know, like 5 grand a month now, which is pretty easy to do out of 940 grand. So, you know, and whenever I do a financial plan, I've got to feel real certain that if one of them or both of them lives a long time and into their 80s and 90s, that they're not going to be broken out of money. And it's probably not a good thing to just have these people looking at these large numbers and then they're going to go out and buy something. And there's all kinds of bad things that could happen over 30 years. So that wasn't a good strategy. So backing up with Social Security, what we had to do in order to get her this $1,387 a month at a point in the future is we had to actually do a do-over with Social Security. So Social Security will let you, within the first year when you file for benefits, go to them and say, oops, I made a mistake. I want to unfile. I want to get off of Social Security. And if you pay them back all the money, they don't ask for any interest, it can be like it never happened. And so we did that for her. And we paid back $2,019 to Social Security, which was kind of hard to do. They had a little money on the side, and, you know, we withdrew a little money out of the one account that's a bit of a slush fund, worked all that out. So we did the do-over, and the reason I'm going over this as a case study today is it's becoming the summer of 2022, and we got to get with Social Security in July. And what we've been doing since he retired is we've been drawing out about $5,000 a month out of the $300,000 because I put their money in 3 buckets. I took the $940,000, we rolled it out of the IRA into a self-directed IRA, all $940,000, and then what we did is we left $300,000 of it right where it was, and we took $300,000 and put it in a growth annuity that guarantees that you won't ever lose anything, which gave them some interest, but the safety and security that they just got an account that they can go for money. It's really a lot for the future, for inflation, who knows what's going to happen. And then we put $340,000 in an annuity that has guaranteed payments to start at a point in the future. and the guaranteed payments are for both of them. It's kind of like Social Security, because it's just going to continue. Doesn't matter how much balance there is in the annuity. If either one of them or both of them are alive, or just say one of them lives to 100, those payments are going to keep coming in. So this is where they're going to get their long-term supplement to their Social Security. And once they start this, they really, it's going to be nice to have all of this, but this and this over the long term are going to provide them with the security that they need and the extra income they need. And the longer you wait to start the income, so in the original plan, we have 6 years where we're going to start the income on this baby, and that's going to give them all the money they need. But we probably will get to the 6 years, and we'll probably wait maybe till the 8th or the 10th year, because they'll get a larger amount, and that larger amount will be guaranteed the rest of their life. And we'll just make up for it out of one of these two buckets. So we were able to secure their money. We were able to get the lion's share of the money they need right now, starting out of Social Security. For the year where they wouldn't have Social Security, he about fell off his chair when I told him all this. I said, you can go retire tomorrow. I mean, just go in there and tell him you're done. And he really didn't like his job that he got here when he had moved back home. And so he did that, and we've been just living out of this. We invested this conservatively, and they've lost a little money, just like everybody else in America has over the 5 months of the year, but they haven't lost as much as they would have lost when it was all invested for growth. It's a little bit, it's not a lot, but the main reason this has gone down is they've been pulling $5,000 a month out of there and living and just being happy as they can be. So, the whole gist of this is it covers on Social Security is strategies are personal. I mean, while I may be in favor of delaying Social Security, for most people, it's not everyone. And the client gets to make the decisions. So I want people to get is that what we got on here is early filing and filing at 62, which is great for them. We've got spousal benefits. So we have a maximizing spousal benefits in a case where we have an older spouse that was the non-working spouse or older than him. And then we've got the do-over with Social Security for somebody, because we get a lot of these where people come into us and they've done a whole bunch of stuff before they come into us, and they come into us for Medicare, and we're advising them on Medicare. They've watched my video, and then we find out about all the stuff they've done on their own. And so we do these do-overs for some people because they say, boy, if I'd have known all that, I wouldn't have filed for Social Security. Well, if it's been less than a year, we can go do it. So anyhow, these folks are real happy. I hope you've learned something about Social Security. I'm Hans Scheil, and I thank you for listening.